I refused to apologize to my brother's new wife after she asked me to stop using my own mother's recipes at family dinners. My mom passed away 2.5 years ago. She wasn't like a restaurant-level cook or anything like that, just one of those people who could make something out of nothing, and it always tasted exactly right. Sunday dinners were her whole thing. She had maybe 20 recipes she rotated through depending on the season and who was coming over, and she just knew which one to make. After she died, nobody else was going to step up, so those dinners were just going to stop existing. So I took over. I learned her recipes as best I could, pieced some of them together from memory and a few from these stained index cards I found in the back of her kitchen drawer. I started hosting at my place every few weeks. Honestly, it was the closest thing to her I had left. My brother Danny got married 8 months ago. His wife is Simone. I really did try to like her from the start. She's just very particular, very clear about what she wants and how she wants things to feel, which is fine in general, except that she started pointing some of that energy toward things that weren't really hers to direct. The first couple dinners she came to, she was perfectly nice. She'd say, "Oh wow, this is so good," and ask where I got the recipe. I'd say it was my mom's, and there'd be this half second at the table where everyone kind of went soft and quiet the way you do, and then we'd move on. Normal stuff. Then about 3 months after the wedding, I get a text from Simone asking if we can grab coffee. I figured she wanted to talk about the holidays or coordinate something for the family. She was warm when I got there, said how glad she was to be part of our family, how she hoped we'd be really close. Then she said, "There's something I wanted to bring up, and I hope you won't take it the wrong way." I knew right then I was going to take it the wrong way. She said she felt like every family dinner was kind of built around my mom, her words, and that it made it really hard for her to feel like she was actually joining the family versus walking into a memorial. She wasn't trying to be insensitive, she said. She just hoped that going forward I could maybe try some new recipes. Branch out a little? That was her exact phrase. Branch out a little? Like I was a plant that needed different soil. I sat with that for a second. Then I asked if she understood my mom had been gone for less than 3 years. She said yes. I asked if Danny knew she was having this conversation with me. She paused and said she wanted to handle it herself so it didn't turn into a whole thing. I said, "It already is a whole thing." We finished our coffees and I drove home. I didn't say anything to Danny. I kept hosting dinner, kept making the same recipes. About a month later, Danny called. Said Simone had mentioned the coffee and that he understood where I was coming from, but could I maybe just try a couple of different things here and there, just to help her feel more settled in? I asked if he was serious. He said it wasn't that big a deal. I said, "Danny, she asked me to stop cooking our dead mother's food. That is a big deal." He went quiet, then said I was making it harder than it needed to be. That Simone was trying to build a relationship with me and I was shutting her out. I said cooking my mom's recipes wasn't shutting anyone out, and if that's how Simone felt, she could take that up with a therapist. The next dinner I hosted, I made mom's pot roast. The one with the onion soup mix where the vegetables go so soft they basically dissolve into the broth. Apple cake for dessert, her recipe, the one with the brown sugar crumble on top that she only ever made when she was in a really good mood. Danny walked in, looked at the stove, looked at Simone. She sat through the whole dinner without saying much. The table was quieter than usual, which for my family is really saying something because we cannot normally get through a meal without 3 separate conversations happening at once. After dinner, Simone followed me into the kitchen while I was wrapping things up. She said she thought we had some kind of understanding from our coffee. I said I'd never agreed to anything. She said she felt really disrespected. I told her I was sorry she felt that way, but that these dinners were how my family stays connected to someone we lost, and that wasn't going to change because she was uncomfortable with it. She said, "I'm your family now too." I said, "I know, but my mom was my family first." She went back to the living room. Danny came in about 5 minutes later and told me I owed her an apology. I said I really didn't think so. He said I was being cruel to his wife. I said I was making pot roast. Simone hasn't been back to dinner since.